With this segment, we now begin our examination of the Gospel of Luke. We spent the last 18 segments doing an introduction and talking about different generalities, and then we looked at the hermeneutic of Jesus and Paul, and then we spent about 10 segments looking at the timeline in order to build a context around what we're about to study in the Gospel of Luke. So let's look at the Gospel of Luke, and we're going to look at our very first verse that we're going to look at is Luke chapter 1 verse 6. And I'm going to do all of my work here from the King James. It's not because I choose the King James, it's just that that's the text so many people use. And I know there's the NIV and the ESV and other text. So please just follow along and make your variations and changes according to what text you're using. But the King James for Luke 1 verse 6 reads like this. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. Now that is a very important verse, and we're going to pick out at least 3 different things about this. We are at this section in the Gospel of Luke. This is about John the Baptist, and this is about his parents. So John the Baptist's parents, or John the Baptizer, his parents are living before Jesus is even born. And then Jesus is going to live 33 so odd years, and he's going to die. So what he have is John the Baptist and Jesus are born right here. And this is all the Old Testament stuff that we were talking about. So these are the scriptures. So when you look at this verse, John the Baptist is being born, and then Jesus will be born a few months later. Now, it says something very important about John the Baptist's parents. Both of them are walking, how? In the commandments of the Lord and the ordinances of the Lord. So this particular verse, when it says Lord, it is not talking about Jesus. It's talking about the Lord, as in the Lord of the Old Testament, which would be Jehovah. So when you read this verse, John the Baptist's parents are walking in the commandments and ordinances of God, and they are blameless in doing this. So there are 2 other things we want to point out about this verse. It's a word that sits behind the word commandment, and that's a Greek word, ontele. And ontele is always translated either command when it's singular, commands when it's plural, or precept when it's singular, and precepts when it's plural. And it always refers to the commands of God. The other second word is what sits behind the word ordinances, and that's diakaioma. And that is Greek number G1345. And that is translated several different ways in the New Testament according to the King James. Sometimes it's translated as righteousness or judgment. So consider this verse from Romans 8 verse 4. That the righteousness, that's the same Greek word, of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh but after the Spirit. So Paul is making an argument there, and he is contrasting what has been before and what is in Jesus and all these kinds of things. And what we're trying to point out is that back over in Luke chapter 1 verse 6, this word is called ordinance, but it's also considered righteousness. So when you go back over there to Luke chapter 1 verse 6, you could say that John the Baptist's parents walked in all the commandments and righteousness of God, blameless. This is very important, and it sets a strong foundation for the beginning of this study. So John the Baptist, the forerunner of Jesus, the Messiah, his parents walk in all the commands and righteousness of God. And that is powerful, and that is important.